Good Friday, and you know what that means? That means it's a Old Humble Good Friday happy hour behind the scenes. That's right, I am your host, your friendly neighborhood sin merchant, the Old Humble guy himself. And I haven't decided, I've got some projects I need to do. I need to add this to my table here so I have a little bit more, my production table that I'm working on right here. Uh, see this table right here. I want to add a little bit more space so that I have more room to work, like so. Just a little bit more room to work. Uh, Make for a little bit better production experience for me. Cheers, William Hall. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. But I've got this whiskey behind me. I need to put labels on it, but I'm debating putting the old style clear label or the new label and doing a debut of the new label here on Good Friday. Our 72-hour blackout bourbon is going to be bottled up in about 2 weeks. It's almost dark enough, almost as dark as I want it to be, for it to be bottled up. Um, for our release on May 20th, and then the next batch of clear label bourbon will go, or standard label bourbon will go to the stores, hopefully for the fall and into the winter, and we'll have this big release for the winter. We're about a month and a half, 2 months behind on our deliveries, on my sales quotas, but I'm going to fix that this month when we start our road show in about, about a week. Because next Saturday is when the April Road Show begins. We have the Texas Whiskey Festival. A couple of weeks after that, we have the HTX Whiskey Festival. A week after that, we have a Huntsville Whiskey Festival. A week after that, or 2 weeks after that, we've got shit going on. We're going to sell some whiskey in the next 3 months, get some momentum going, and get a whole bunch of stuff flying through stores. Hopefully add up about 30 more stores to our roster of stores as well, and just get things going, gangbusters. And it's going to be insanity, crazy, crazy insanity. Um, so tell you what I'm doing. I'm not going to be on too long today. It's 2 o'clock. It's Good Friday. I want to go home and see my family around 5 or 6 o'clock. We're not going to be open tonight. Uh, but oh, Time Life Magazine. Would you like to talk about a subscription for? Ah, yes, the hits of the '80s. Yes, we could do the hits of the '80s uh, cassette set for you. Yeah, absolutely. It's a box set of cassettes, 7 different cassettes with hits of the '80s from 1981 all the way to 1989. Yes, yes, it's a great deal. If you order now, you get this handsome set of. Oh, hello, hello. Okay. Um, yeah. So where was I? What was I talking about? So I'm just gonna get started. I'm gonna work on this project first, the table. So here's the issue with the table. Um, I set it up. I built it. So I've got two braces over here. Let me get the camera. Can I do this with that camera? So our production studio. I'm gonna move my camera around. Uh, let's cut to the live screen. How's that? Now we got audio. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ting. Um, so yeah, that's going to be the plan. I'm going to take this board, cut it down on my uh, with my saw, obviously with a saw, duh, and then use this offcut here to brace and to brace it at an angle and straight so that it can both straight and at an angle so that it can be stabilized. And I think I'm going to do it this direction so that I don't have, well, that knot's not going to be a problem. And then I'm going to rip this in half and use this one as a straight cut this way, which should be more than enough length. Yeah. And then cut the angle piece in the same shape or all right, so let me get my pencil, let me get my carpentry work and carpentry tools, and then I'm debating. I don't know if I want to show off the new labels yet, so I'm debating putting together batch number 3. I know I said this was the last of their style, the last set of clear label bottles that I'd bottled up, but I really haven't decided if I want this to be the last set of clear label bottles or the first set of solid new style labels. Just haven't really decided yet. Haven't decided yet. So that's the cut that I need to make. I wish I knew where my carpentry pencil was. I don't like using regular pencils because I don't like losing my shit. As you can see, I've probably lost my carpentry pencil, which is why I don't like doing stuff, because I don't like losing my stuff. Happy Good Friday to y'all. This has been a weird week. Just a weird week in general. A weird week outside of the distillery, a weird week inside of the distillery. I got word from our auditor that they're finished with the audit. That's good. I'm still operational. I'm sure I'll have I'm sure I'll get fussed at for keeping bad records or not good enough records, because as a small operator, I've kind of taken liberties, and I really do need to keep better records. I know I need to keep better records, but I've kind of knowingly taken liberties with my record keeping, because there's some months that I'm like, my inventory literally just doesn't change, and so I don't take inventory. But that is frowned upon. Like in July and the summer months when we're not open, just didn't take inventory, and the auditors don't like it when you don't take inventory, because they're like, well, how do we know? Like, well, you know the same way I know, because nothing fucking changed. You see that I didn't do any sales. Jesus. The distillery wasn't open. I was on vacation, or I was in Specs all month, selling whiskey in the stores. Leave me alone. I didn't even fucking come into the distillery for a month because it was too goddamn hot. Well, how do I know? Well, because I'm the only employee. That's how you know. Who else is coming in here? All right. We are good. We are good to go. Time to cut a board. I got this big old machine. Oh, shit. I got this big old machine over here for literally one board to cut a single board. Zoom in on what I'm doing over here. Over here. There I am. So this is where I'm going to be. Happy Friday to you too, Tink. Y'all may have seen me on the But Seriously, or the Seriously podcast a couple of nights ago. I actually ended up falling asleep in my office after that. We shut down, I think around 4 o'clock my time. And I sat back in my chair and I relaxed and I was watching a video, some YouTube video about building building some sort of craft thing. And then a commercial came on, and it was one of those commercials you couldn't skip. Audio warning. And I sat back in my chair and relaxed for a second and closed my eyes. And the next thing I know, it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and my wife came in. She's like, I hope you enjoyed sleeping in your office last night. Like, God damn it. No, I didn't enjoy sleeping in my office, woman. All right, that is a perfect cut. That is a perfect cut. It might even be a little, well, it's just a shade short, but it's a perfect cut. Perfect enough for my operation over here. Get you back to where you go. Now, I got to rip this board in half, trim it down to size. I got to cut it in half, trim it down to size. So this board here, I got to cut it in half so that I can have a little rail on the outside to hold my board up, and then trim it at an angle so that I can have this supporting the whole thing. It doesn't have to go all the way to the end. It can go like 3/4 of the way, but I'm going to make it go all the way to the end of a proper triangle. I'm out of frame. Go all the way to the end of the proper triangle. See, I'm a DIY YouTuber. Let me get my head up in the camera. There we go. You don't need to be looking at my crotch. I know you want to, but you don't need to. That's right. You were at work. As you can see on our subscriber count, we are in the 1970s. 1977 is the exact number that we're at right now. Let's see, is this a better board to use? Less waste? Yeah, this is actually a better board to use because there's less to trim off by just a couple. And I can use this board for shot glass totes. I can just, I'll only need to cut off a little bit of this one. I'm going to use this one. And to rip the boards, I need to get my handy dandy table saw. My handy dandy Ryobi table saw. And I also need to bring this home with me. I'm going to put this over here so I don't forget it. I need to bring that home because I have some curtains that need to be hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon will be there. But I'm also going to re-record my closing message that I had on Nate's podcast, or Nate's broadcast there, because it was, I liked it, and I want to re-record that. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to sell it on my own. I'm going to post it on my own website. It's just a message from the Old Humble Distilling Company. I believe in America. I believe that we are the greatest country, and we can be the people that our grandkids are hoping that we can be. That we can make the hard decisions that our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren are looking to us to make. That we can not only make this country a better place, but we can make the world a better place. Turn. We're able to do these things. We are uniquely able to do these things, because we as a people do big things. We don't look at things that are hard and go, that's hard. We don't look at things that are difficult and go, that's difficult. We look at things like that and we go, fuck yeah, we can do that. And if we didn't, then I wouldn't be doing this. If it was a question of whether or not we could, I wouldn't be doing it, because I wouldn't think that I could. I don't know if this is going to be long enough for the angle. Oh, I'll brace it here. Yeah, this will be plenty long enough. Okay. Because that's what we do as a people. That's what we do. We do big things. We do hard things. We, as a people, look at challenges and say, yeah, I got this. Hold my beer. Figuratively and sometimes literally. And then we go about the steps that are involved in solving the problems that we need to solve. That's what we do. Because by God, we're Americans. We're Americans, not Americans. This is 3.5 inches, which is 1 3/4, which puts the mark right there. Oops. One 3/4 inches. That's where I need you to be, boys. 1 3/4, right there. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. Oh, it's on the wrong side. That's 1 3/4 is right there. That should rip me a board. There's the 1 3/4 mark. I had it at 1 1/2. It was off by 1/4 inch. That should rip me a board exactly as wide as I need it to be. So what's going to happen is this part is going to just go flush and hold up all the boards. And then this part is going to go at an angle and brace it to the front wall. So heads up, noise alert. If you have headphones on, heads up. All right, beautiful. As you can see, I really like my fingers, and that machine makes me nervous. So that'll go here, and then this one will go like so. Okay, but I got to fit the first one on there before I do the second one. So let's get a measurement. Wally, you are right in the way, pup. Let's turn you boys. There's my Wally, the distillery dog. Say, hey, puppy. Bark, bark. Bark, bark, bark. He doesn't bark. He doesn't bark on command. He's a very lazy dog when it comes to that. Okay, so I'm going to set this like so. I actually need to trim it off just a little bit more, I suppose, but set it like so. Get my board up here. And Measurement made. It's going to cut it off right there. Don't worry, I'll turn y'all in just a second. Give me a second. And when you watch movies like, I love watching movies. Y'all know this. I talk about them all the time. But when you watch movies, like especially sci-fi movies, they talk about this stuff. Like what we see in Tennessee right now. We literally are seeing, we saw this several years ago after the Parkland shootings. We've seen it in Tennessee now. The kids are begging us to do something. The kids are looking at us, the grown-ups, and saying, guys, do something. Like, this is ridiculous. And, I watch these grown-up legislators cowering and hiding and running for their lives and saying, oh, we're terrified of the high school kids. Like, they don't have any problem with high school kids cowering for their lives and hiding for their lives and sheltering in place because dangerous people are on campus, and they do absolutely nothing about it. Again and again and again and again and again. They have absolutely no problem terrorizing the high school kids. They have no problem telling high school kids, take care of that. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. They have absolutely no problem with that. Headphones alert. 3, 2, 1. All right. But put the shoe on the other foot. Now they're terrified. Acts of terrorism. Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Absolute fucking bullshit. In fact, I'm going to trim that just a little bit more. I'm going to give it a angle there. Yeah. Cut it. I'll give it a 45-degree angle. That'll be fine. There we go. That's perfect. But you watch a movie like The Tomorrow War. That is literally a movie about another generation of kids, the 30 years from now, a generation of people looking at us and saying, do something. It is y'all's responsibility now. But the cool thing is, it's our responsibility now. We can do something. Cheers, Vanessa. True America used table saw without the guard. Yeah, that table saw came to me without a guard. So, I use it without a guard. And I really do like I like my fingers, so that thing makes me extremely nervous. I haven't used it enough to be very comfortable with it, so it makes me nervous. But I've got to drill some pilot holes and then put some screws into wood. So first, I'm going over here off camera to where you can't see me to find my wood screws, which are, here they are. Is that my wood screws? Yeah, these screws will do. They're probably a little longer than I need them to be, but just so long they don't go all the way through, I'll be fine. Yeah, we'll be fine. In fact, these are probably the perfect size screws. On further inspection, and here's my drill for the pilot holes. So it's not very, it doesn't have to be structural or anything, so I'm probably not going to put a lot of holes in it. I don't need to. Just one screw per board should do the trick. I have other supports. I have other supports holding it in place. So this isn't so much structural as it is just precautionary to hold the board where I need it to be. And also to level out these end pieces. Um, and I'm drilling pilot holes specifically because we're at the end of the boards. Well, shit. I'm at the end of the boards, and I really don't want these things to split and break and be a general pain in the ass. There we go. Give me some real torque, boys. All right, that should do it. One more here. All right. And now, for the grand finally, almost there, putting one screw in each hole. Beautiful. Number 2. Number 3. I'd like to make that flush, please. There we go. And you too. Nice and flush. Good. I've got a Craftsman impact hammer drill, whatever they call them. And that was a Craftsman regular drill. That I use for this particular job. This should, hopefully, yeah, this is going to give me a nice extension of my working surface. And I've got one more screw to put in over here. If I can figure out how to actually get to it, because we're inside of the frame of the everything. There we go. Got it. There. Nice. Tight, tight, tight. Might want to put a little something under here to support it. Just a little biscuit. Something like this. This will do. 2 more screws should do the trick. Just to tighten this thing down so it's not like flopping around. And then I want to put the angle piece down here. That's 45 degrees. That should be it right there. Gluing this would be a good way to start it, but nuts. Hold on. I don't know if this is such a good idea. Yeah, this is a bad idea. Because I'm going to have nails or screws sticking out at my leg height, and I don't want that. I need shorter screws is what I need. Let me see. One more check here to see if I've got the thing that I can use. Possibly shorter screws. I don't think I mess around with shorter things. Either full length or not at all. Merca. But the whole point of recording that and posting it on is to invite people, remind people, I think. I mean, y'all listen to me all the goddamn time. I am fully committed to having a long table of so that people can enjoy whiskey together. Long table with good whiskey. Come and join me. Maybe I could. How to? Any ideas? 11 on Ghost Runner. My poly build. Maybe if I know if I did it sideways, like so. But I don't. Man, then hang on. Let me see. If I come up here. Okay, that would work. This would work. Having it sideways. I could do that. Okay. Have it sideways, just a little chip down here in the bottom. That'll work. If I actually had a battery in the goddamn thing, that would work. It is actually beautiful weather today. Not gonna lie, it is gorgeous weather right now. There it is. Just a little structural support for this one board here, right here in the middle, to help it keep its place. There. Now it won't be so wiggly. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. I see I've got to have my computer propped up this way. So now with this extra board, I could bring my computer down, have my keyboard here, have all my stuff, and then I don't have to like arrange stuff in a way like all that. What am I missing out on chat? Let me see. Scroll up through chat. Okay, so now I got to put this this support down here on the backside. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Got to have two 45-degree cuts to make this work. And I'm going to brace it down here. Nope, not going to be 45. It's going to be another angle. But that's all right. That's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just has to be. Down to the ground he goes. All right. So I'm going to cut it off. Right. Yeah. And right. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. And yeah. Okay. I think I got this. Beautiful. At least I got the angles right. Ugh. All right. Let's find the angle. There's the angle. There's the angle. All right. And then we flip it to get the same angle. Shit, we got to do it this way. All right. We'll do it this way first. Okay, here we go. That is the first one. Then the second one. It'll be right about there. Now, that should put me here. Yes, that's beautiful. That is perfect. That nails it. Awesome. Fucking amazing. Then 2 screws and we're done. I guess I should put 2 on bottom and 2 on top, shouldn't I? All right. 2 on bottom and 2 on top to do it proper. Ugh. Let's see here. How do I secure this in? Where'd my clamp go? Clamps. Where'd the clamps go? Ugh. There's a clamp. Not sure how to clamp this in. Here we go, satellite radio. Y'all getting hit with the boom, boom. See, this is the sort of stuff they don't tell you about in business school. They don't tell you about this in business school. That you're going to be, just building stuff, random things that nobody even, who'd have thunk it? Really, who'd have thunk this was the type of thing that I would be doing when I went to B school? Be like, yeah, you're going to be having to build your production studio. Of course, YouTube wasn't a thing when I was in business school, but be like, yeah, have to do this and this, do these things every once in a while. A little split in the wood there, but that's nothing. It's not that big of a deal. It's not it's structural, but it's going to be hidden. It's not going to be cosmetically unattractive. This one down here, though, I am going to put a couple of pilots because I do want it to not break. And I am going to be putting 2 down here in the bottom, I believe. I don't know if I can put 2 in here. Put 1 there. I can only fit 1. So I only put 1. All right. Fine. You get 1. As a reminder, though, May 20th, if you're in town, if you're local, May 20th, we have local musicians coming to party right here, the Old Humble Distilling Company. Now, I am going to put 1 more in there because I don't like, it looks like it's trying to twist, and I don't want it to twist. So we're going to put 1 more right about here. And we'll be releasing our 72-hour blackout bourbon. The 72-hour blackout bourbon made with water harvested from the 72-hour blackout experienced in the Houston area during the Great Freeze of 2021. Should I put 1 more up in here? I could put 1 more right there, but I need to drill a hole to do that because it's already split in the wood. There we go. Just out of an abundance of caution, I don't want this piece of wood twisting or warping or anything like that. I just want to be able to, and if I got to replace it eventually, I will. That's not that big of a deal. There. Now, what I really need is a vertical support here. That's what I really need. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to. Ha! What's up, pup? Come here. Come here, pup. Ugh. This is Wally, the distillery dog. Come here. Hey, puppy, come here. Hey, come here. Come here. Ah, you bozo, come here. Wally, come here. Come here. Who's my dog? Come here. Who's my good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's the goodest? You're the goodest. Mwah. Yes, you are. I got your bed right here. You want to come lay on your bed? Come on, lay down. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good dog. All right. I'll make my dad noises as I get up, because I'm an old man. All right. So that's this project that I wanted to get done. There we go. Zoom back over there. Dad was a machinist ever since he got out of the Navy. Speaking of workshops, the next big project I've got, spin around, boys and girls, is this over here. So I'm going to start framing out the wall all the way back here. I need to get this done by May 20th because we're having that party. We're having that show on May 20th. I need to frame out that wall and then possibly put a temporary wall right here from that purling over to the other side. Put a temporary wall in to box in our tasting room so that we can do the show on the 20th. To at least have, bring an electrician, get it all done. I mean, it's going to take, goodness, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some doing, but I feel like I have the capability. I think I know how to, I have the capability of being able to frame in a metal wall. I've never done it before, but of course I've never done this, and I've never done that. What the hell was that? And I've never done, that, and I've never done a lot of stuff before. But just because I ain't never done it, what the fuck? Why are we in a test pattern? Hello? There we go. That was weird. I've never made it give me a test pattern before. So here's the bottles. The next thing I need to decide is what kind of labels I want to put on these bottles. Do I want to do the old label? Do I want to do the new label? Is it imperative? Storage fees are insane. My storage unit increased so much this month to month. 360 for my six. Wow. That's an expensive damn storage unit. So what time is it? It's been 45 minutes. What do I want to do? Should I build? Okay, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut more of my shot glass totes. I want to cut the dual shotties so that I can have some of those to bring with me to the Texas Whiskey Fest. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I've got these dual shot glass holders that I need to make. Remember these guys? The dual shot glass holders? Like so. What is going on with the test pattern shit? What is going on with that? I've never seen it, my camera do that before. It's cool, but it worries me because it's not supposed to do that. All right, so this is where my machine's going to be. That's where my machine is, as a matter of fact. Just finish out the labels. Just finish out. See, well, that's what I'm debating. Clear labels or the solid labels. I like the idea of putting the solid labels on it and go ahead and making their debut now. I really do. But I've got like a odd case, an unfinished case of the clear labels. And I can finish that unfinished case of clear labels with an unfinished case of clear labels from batch 3, batch 1, 2, and 3. Oops. And then we're done. And then batches 4 and 5 this year will be the new labels. But if my distributor is going to come and pick stuff up in April, you know, hmm, 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 hmm. What, isn't that a tease? That is a hell of a tease, isn't it? Oh, I'm such a tease. 5 more bar clamps, and I have 10 made up, gluing up boards for the niche builds. Huh. See, I could have these new labels for... I could have the new labels for the March 20th or the May 20th show. But here's the thing. For the May 20th thing, I just want to have the specialty labels. I just want to have those available. I don't want to have an overabundance of everything else because I really want to sell those specialty labels and be done with them. Oh, goodness. I'm just going to make these things. I'm just going to do this. That'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Fine, 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 fine. All right, so I have this much wood, ladies. I have this much wood that I can make our dual totes, or dually totes. And I really wish I knew where my pencil was. Where could it have gone? Where could my carpentry pencil gone? Oh, where could it be? Yee. Oh, where would my pencil have gone? Oh, where could it be? What's this? Oh, a little mandrel. I need that for my whatchamacallit. Oh, goodness. Concrete on your knees. Ouch. Oh, goodness. I'm such an old man making old man sounds all the time. I'm so glad my still finds me attractive and lovable because I could not. I mean, go back out on the dating scene with all the noises I make and the sounds and the smells. Sheesh. That would just be. Also, I mean, she's a wonderful person and I love her dearly. But, you know, I just couldn't imagine. All you trifling bitches out there. Oh, Lord. All right, well, screw it. I'll just use the pen that I've been using. And what did I do with it? Where'd I put it? Son of a bit. There it is. I do have a couple of barrels I need to fill. Maybe I should do that. The challenge isn't having stuff to do. The challenge is knowing what to do first. You know what I mean? That's the challenge. It's just knowing what to do first. Is that the right size? Yeah, that's the right size. Now this one has a notch here. I don't know if I'll be able to use that piece of wood. But this is a little bit short anyway, so let me see if I can put the 2x in there. Will it fit? Yep, it'll fit. Cut that off, so I have one 2x piece. That'll fit in there. This just gives it character, you know? Just gives it a little bit of character. That'll be fine. Yeah, so anyway. America. Happy Easter, too, by the way. This is also a great time of year. One of my favorites. It's a busy time at the church. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure some of you do. Some of y'all just don't even give a shit. I am an elder at my church. So, you know, the pastor's doing all his work. Like a boss, like a champ. Here's another one that has a big old knot. This is going to be an interesting little challenge for this one. But I'm going to get 2 shorties out of it and a handful of long ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 long ones and 2 short ones. Headphones alert. About to get some noise. Wally doesn't like it when I do this. Oh, he didn't even twitch. What a good boy. What a good boy. He's the goodest. Oh, there he is. He's up. He's like, what's going on? Did somebody say my name? I'm Wally. I'm a good boy. Oh, he's going on patrol. Oh, no, Wally! Where's he going? Wally! Wally! He saw a deer. Come here. Wally, come back. Wally, you're not going to chase the deer. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. That's a good boy. Come on. Leave him be. Leave him be. He chased a deer down the road. He chased a deer. He gets to the intersection of the road down the way, and he's looking around like, where'd it go? Come on, pup. I guess he's not good for nothing. He's not good for much, but he's not good for nothing. That was exciting. He just growled and took off. And every once in a while we do. We get deer around here. And that one probably won't be back anytime soon. That knot was tough. It did not want to go through that knot. And last one, earphone alert. He still hasn't come back. That fucking meathead. What is he doing? Where are you? Come on, get in here. Leave that deer alone. But you did good, boy. You did good. You did good. You're such a good boy. You did good. He just and took off. That was funny. That was funny. I haven't sold any of these yet, but I'm certain at some point somebody will buy one. I put a coupon on the neighborhood forum. The people in these the local neighborhood guys, they are such trifling little bitches. As much as I would love to be able to say, you know, these people support local, they're local supporters, support local, buy local, blah, blah, blah. They don't. They are not local supporters at all. In fact, I had one guy at Specs come up to me while I was doing a tasting, and he said he tasted my whiskey, he liked my whiskey, and he said that's pretty good stuff. But I'm here for some something else. And he leaves to go to try and find allocated Kentucky bourbon. Allocated Kentucky fucking whiskey. They didn't have it. I watch him. He goes over to the manager. The manager goes to the back, comes back out, says no. I watch the body language. He's shaking his head no and shrugs his shoulders. He's like, I don't know. I'll tell you when it comes in, blah, 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 blah. He gives him his phone number, writes down his information, and he leaves. He leaves the manager leaves him. He comes over to me. He's like, yeah, I'll buy a bottle. I like to support local. I'm like, what do you mean you like to support local? You literally came in here trying to buy Kentucky out of state shit, and the only reason you're buying my stuff is because they didn't have it. He shrugged his shoulders. I'm like, that's all right, man. I know what you mean. I appreciate it. I'll sell you whatever you want to buy. But I had to give him a little bit of shit, just on principle. All right, so this is the bit I have in here now is for the middle, the neck hole. I'm gonna get my phone so I can. Hey, Miss Kitty, Mr. Jiggs is in the house too. Everybody's here. Everybody's so creative. I have a little. I don't know if you can see that. I have a little rig set up just for my phone. It's not gonna stay forever, but it's gonna be nice. Where'd he go? He's barking at something. He's barking at deer. I wish I could bring the camera out here and show you what. Come on. Come on. Wally. Wally. Come on. Come on. Oh, nope. It's all. Wally. It's another dog. Wally. Get your ass back over here. Wally. Come home. Wally. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Wally. Come. Ah, Wally. Wally. Come. That idiot. Yeah. I thought he chased after a deer earlier, but come on, dummy. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. I'll bring peace. Come on, you doof. Wally, come on. He don't know anything about that. Hello. You stop. Go home. Go home. Go. Go. Hey, hey, hey. Wally. Go. Go. Good boy. Go. Go home. Go home. Be nice. Be nice. She just visiting. She just visiting. She just visiting. Stay. Stay. All right, just a little bit of excitement there. We'll shut the door. You behave yourself. You are incorrigible. She was just visiting. She was just playing. And you are a pain in the ass. So, there was another German Shepherd. It was another German Shepherd, and he was trying to play, but he doesn't know how to play because he's a fucking idiot. Cheers. Drunk. Who's that? Drunken one. Cheers. You're about 35 minutes from Humble, Texas. Well, 35 minutes from Humble, Texas can be a lot of places, man. There's a lot of places that are 35 minutes from Humble, Texas. What'd I do with my pen? Son of a bit. There it is. There's a lot of places that are 35 minutes, especially depending on the time of day. But I am open until 5 o'clock if you want to come out here, because about 5 o'clock is when I'm going home to see my family, so we can make the traditional Jesus eggs. You are a meathead. You are an absolute meathead. I hope you're a little bit embarrassed. I hope you're a little bit ashamed of yourself. Just a little bit. I really do. I had to close the door because of you, you jerk. All right. Sound warning if you're wearing earphones. Oh, between Conroe and Cleveland. Oh, I know where Cut and Shoot is. You're on 105. Beautiful country out there. I should be wearing some kind of a face mask for this, but I am not. I do like the flecks of wood coming out. That makes me happy. It's a nice, satisfying feeling. So once again, these totes are going to go over the neck of the bottles. I'm probably using my drill press entirely wrong. Or at least using the Forstner bit entirely wrong. I'm not a carpenter. I make whiskey. Remind everybody of that. Try not to replicate what I'm doing at home. Because my technique is bad. Almost certainly. When we were in Conroe, my preferred route to go up to Conroe was along 105 until 1413 opened up. That was a little bit easier drive. There are a lot of times I would come home, either come home or go out along 105. I haven't considered getting property out there. Those Peach Creek estates. And there was another hunk of property out there. 100-acre. There was a 100-acre place out near Cleveland that I was looking at, but it just didn't make any sense. You know, we were starting the distillery. I just bought a house. If we hadn't started the distillery, I probably would have bought that property. But, you know, there's only so much money to go around. You have a new house, you have a new distillery. Definitely feels different once you get all the way through. Road work everywhere on 105. Wow. I mean, it was already a major, relatively major road. But it's a lovely drive. 1485, 1413, or 1413 and 1485 are really pretty rides too. They go through the pine country that used to be the big thicket. It's just a beautiful drive out there. This is a beautiful part of the state most of the time. Even in the winter, when it's like dreary out, it's still a pretty drive. You know? There were some shavings on the side of this that I needed to clean up a little bit. This one's good. A little sanding will clean all these up. Okay. Now, I'm going to come back to the little 2x another time because those have to be cut on an angle. I'm not going to worry about those just yet. The next one I need to do is the larger of the holes. For the shot glasses. The larger of the 2 holes, or the 3 holes. 2 different size holes. That's what she said. There's the... Where's my other bit? Oh, here it is. So this is the larger one that goes into the actual shot glass holes on either side. And that's up next. So, use my template, set my center points, and I'm just eyeballing it, really, because it doesn't have to be perfect, because, again, handmade, artisan, all this stuff that we do. From the whiskey is what I do fastidiously perfect. I try to at least do it fastidiously perfect. But, there's variances between every batch when we do our whiskey. It's just a natural function of small batch whiskey making, craft whiskey making. That's a natural function of it because, you're working with 5-gallon barrels or 20-gallon barrels, or, you're working with relatively small amounts, and with those small amounts, the variances from the weather or humidity or just even a couple of weeks difference in the barrel itself can make a huge difference in the output of the whiskey. It can make a huge difference in the ultimate product that you end up with. And little variances make big differences when it comes to small batch whiskey. The big guys, they balance those little variances in each barrel out by using vast quantities of bourbon. When you have 10,000 gallons of bourbon that you're blending on any given day, a variance in any single barrel is not really going to show up in the batch. 50 gallons, even 1,000 gallons of unusual product. It was a weird humidity month, so this product is a little bit weird. Even that is not going to dramatically affect the outcome of the whole batch. It's just because you're talking about hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, 1,000 gallons isn't gonna make a big deal one way or another. But when you're doing 50 gallons, different. It makes a huge difference, and it doesn't scale. The 1,000 gallons aren't going to be consistently weird. The same way that the 5 gallons is going to be. It's, the 5 gallons are going to all have different. Is going to be the only barrel that has the weird consistency out of the 10 barrels that you put, or the 7 barrels that you put together that I use. The 1,000 gallons they have, they're all going to be a little bit unusual. And they're all going to be unusual in a different way. This one has a knot on the edge, so fingers crossed that it doesn't affect the outcome. But that's one of the great things about craft whiskey. We try to make it better every time. Slightly improve it every time. But ultimately, the goal is to give you the same whiskey every time. Just slightly improved whiskey every time. As we, I'll change my technique, I'll change the style. The summer blend versus the winter blend. You're not going to know it's a summer blend versus a winter blend. You'll know it's a different batch if I write the batch numbers on the back. But the new labels, I'm not messing with that shit. Beautiful. There it is. There it is. Look at that. Just as it's supposed to be. And me all covered in sawdust. Like a boss. But it's the same way when you're home brewing beer, or even small batch beer. It's the same way with those guys. It's one of the reasons why Scotch makers blend Scotch. Because you get variances between the various single malts that they use to blend with. And then the blending moves those variances, clears those variances, and makes it a steadier, more consistent whiskey. Top shelf is in the house. Yeah, different isn't bad. And I always tell people that when I do tastings, like there is demonstrably bad whiskeys out there. Cheers! Welcome to the party, by the way, Dustin. When you're talking about variances between brands, is Maker's Mark better than? Because it uses wheat instead of rye. Is it better than? Well, it depends on if you like rye or not. If you like rye, then no, Maker's Mark is not better. If you don't like rye, then yeah, Maker's Mark is definitely better because it doesn't have rye. But if you like rye, then no, Maker's Mark isn't better. But I will be making these things available on our store, on our website. You'll be able to buy these with a couple of shot glasses. I'll have a package where you can buy two shot glasses and a tote and bottle. Beautiful. Oops. You've been cracking jokes at my expense for now. That's good. You should. As long as I am a source of entertainment and I'm getting the hours and the views, I'm happy. Come on. There it is. Beautiful. Covered in wood. That's what she said. Come on, back over here. Why are you turning? All right. 4 more holes. That's the title of my sex tape. All right. Maybe if I'd have taken a woodworking class in high school. Ultimately, though, I think I'm doing this just to put off the work that I need to do. Look at all that. Oh, God, I love the smell of sawdust. I love it. Absolutely love it. I think that's what I'm doing. I'm ultimately just putting off the work that I need to do. The belt is fine. I might need a new belt entirely because this machine is about 45 years old probably. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to get a new belt. That's it. Boom. All done. Now, the next things, shush you. The next things I need to do with these dumb little things is sand them down. I'd like to get a tabletop sander. You know, a little belt sander that I can just go bzz, 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 do all that. But I'm not going to do that. Not anytime soon, at least. Because I just think, I mean, for little projects like this, I don't need something like that. But sand it down, smooth off the edges, and then I'm going to put a stain on it of American oak. The same stain that I have for this table, but you can't see it. Same stain I've got for that table. The American oak stain, like that. So it'll look like oak staves. Covered in sawdust. What else we got? My new OnlyFans site. Just don't throw the piece of wood. All right. I love this. Love sawdust. I love the smell of sawdust. If money wasn't an object, well, if money wasn't an object, I'd still be doing distillery work because I love doing the work I do here at the distillery. But I would probably, my next hobby will probably be some kind of woodworking thing. Well, it kind of is already. I enjoy doing this type of work uh, as a side gig, as a side job. I wish. I mean, I don't have. I wish I had more whiskey projects to do, but as a sideline to a whiskey project, this is a pretty fucking good deal. I like to be able to do these things. I'm gonna clean off my workspace here just a little bit, and I'll sweep all this shit up later. But I do have a few big woodworking projects that I've got in the works. I'm going to build my fermentation tanks out of Western red cedar. I'm going to need about $4,000. Well, about $2,500 to be able to build them. I need about $4,000 to buy one of them, but I'm going to build two of them with about half that, or with about all of that. I'll build two of them for $4,000 when I could buy one of them for $4,000. They're going to be about 300-gallon tanks. The tanks will be 300 gallons. They will be chilled, have copper coils in them to chill. But that is going to be after the build out, after we start the walls and the bathroom and do the stuff that we need to do on the inside of the place. Chew up out of the way. If I had a shop vac that worked, I could use a shop vac. I'm in the middle of making my second set of cabinets. Woodworking is, and it's rewarding too, to a large extent, because you built a thing, and at the end of the day, you look back at it and you go, that's mine. I did that. My hands made this thing. It was just raw, unformed wood. And then at the end of the day, when the project was finished, it was a thing. And you could look at that thing and, it may not have right angles. Usually it will. If you take your time and you're patient, measure twice, cut once, that sort of thing. If you take your time and you're patient, then at the end of it all, you've got right angles. You've done good work. You can be satisfied with it. You can show other people. You can share it. It's the same way with the whiskey. If you rush it, you end up with whiskey that's not quite ready, not quite fully formed, not quite mature enough. You may have to go through a couple of iterations of the same recipes to make sure you get it just right. But even if it's not just right, if you get it done right enough, just like with carpentry or any other kind of project, get it done right enough, you're proud enough to be able to share it with other people, you learn how to do it better the next time. The next iteration is better, and the next iteration is better, and the next iteration is better. And eventually, you're making some top-notch shit. And that's pretty much how it goes with everything. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes a process. Practice makes better. Makes a process. Then you do it again. And you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. And sometimes you got to do it a lot. And sometimes you got to do it a little. But any which way, you learn from the process. Always learn from the process. And that separates the pros from the amateurs. The ones that learn from the process versus the ones that don't. In fact, the NFL draft is coming up, and you see it again and again and again with kids that get drafted into the NFL. We say kids, they're fucking grown-ass adults. They get drafted. The ones that are born with a talent that is unmatched tend to, some of them tend to have better careers than others. And the difference isn't the talent. The difference is the head full of doorknobs, or the ones with the work ethic versus the ones without. The ones that are willing to practice and learn and sacrifice. That's why you end up with people who were drafted in the 5th or 6th or 7th round go on to have 20-year careers and be absolute gods in the NFL. I mean, granted, most of the people drafted in the 5th or 6th or 7th round, they suck. That's why they're in the 5th or 6th or 7th round. You're more likely to find diamonds in a field of diamonds than diamonds in the rough. That's why people search for diamonds in the field of diamonds. But the difference between people drafted in the 6th round and people drafted in the 1st round is if you're drafted in the 6th round, you got to work because you don't have that raw, innate. You don't necessarily have that raw, innate talent that people are born with. You've got to develop a talent and work. And if you have to learn that talent and work, you get something even more special than somebody who can just drop back and throw the damn ball 300 yards. I mean, for one thing, being able to throw the ball 300 yards is a useless skill in the NFL because the field's only 100 yards long. But, being able to, fire a football 100 miles an hour into the chest of a wide receiver may not be the type of skill that they need in a quarterback, because what kind of fucking receiver is going to catch that ball? That's insane. I know if I were a receiver, I wouldn't want to get a 100-mile-an-hour fastball in my chest every single time I drop back or every time I go out for a pass. That would be crazy. That would hurt. I'd be like, don't throw it to me, bitch. If you do throw it to me, kind of take a little bit off. God damn. I mean, even Nolan Ryan didn't throw 100 miles an hour when he was playing catch with his kids. He could, but he didn't. But, the ability to learn and identify offenses or defenses and learn what schemes are going to be thrown up against you, and what this pass rush and that pass rush and all these things, to be able to learn that stuff. That is a skill that you're not necessarily born with. That's a skill that you develop over a lifetime. And the unfortunate thing is, if you are born with the skill, you don't always develop the tools to work and develop that skill. I mean, hell, we see it all the time, even with, what the hell is this? It looks like a guitar string. This is some kind of what the hell is this? It's a wire. I swear to God, it looks like a guitar string, but it is way too short to be a guitar string. Like a violin string, maybe. I don't need it. It ain't mine. I don't need it. I don't want it. It can go to hell. But you see it in academics. You see it in, I mean, hell, you see it in In music, the kid that comes in, the fucking prodigy, he knows how to play everything, he knows how to do everything. Everything comes easy to him. He sits back, he relaxes, he never practices. The next thing you know, he's 8th grade and he's washed out because he's never developed the skill. He was a great 10-year-old player of whatever instrument. He could play at 10 years old, he could play his instrument fantastically. But at 12 years old, by the time he was 12, 13, 14 years old, he never learned the innate skill of practice. He never learned how to learn. Maybe the NFL isn't great at figuring out all the genetic advantages. Yeah, that's part of it too. Joe's forgetting what strings are breaking. I don't know. I mean, I swear to God, this looks like a violin string. But I don't have any violins here. A ukulele, maybe? And it's what is that? 3 feet? 4 feet? Do I have a tape measure around here somewhere? I know I have a tape measure. I just don't know where it's at because I put it down in random places all the time and lose it all the time, like literally. There it is. Aha, I found it. This string, it is 2.5 feet long, 30 inches long. We have a 30-inch string. It's not one of those, it doesn't cut. It's not one of those saws. I mean, this is definitely some kind of ukulele or violin. The violin would be, it's a little bit long for a violin. It's probably a ukulele. Ah, yes, prodigies. Memorization and creativity. There's a big difference between memorization and creativity. And I mean, but we've seen it again and again, especially in the NFL. We've seen it in NFL and in baseball. We've seen it all kinds of places where you get somebody who's like Ryan Leaf is a great example. Ryan Leaf his arm was touched by the good Lord himself. That kid was fantastic. Heisman Trophy winner. Last I saw, he was serving time for drugs in Montana, or for dealing drugs in Montana. Case Keenum. That's an example of a kid who had a tremendous amount of gifts, but he was at the University of Houston, so he didn't get a whole lot of opportunity to showcase those gifts and hone those gifts. And he goes into the NFL, and he drifts around a little bit. But the difference between him and his gifts, and someone like Ryan Leaf and his gifts, is that Case Keenum had to work and prove himself on the big league level. Otherwise, he wasn't going to get a chance. That makes a big difference. And Brian Leaf is no longer in the NFL. Case Keenum is. Andrew Luck. He was a contemporary with Case Keenum in college. Case is still in the NFL. I think Andrew Luck's been injured and out. He's gone, which is unfortunate. But that was a guy who was drafted at the top. Number 1, number 2 draft choice, Heisman Trophy winner. Bucket full of skills, absolute bucket full of skills. Never became. I mean, he was an amazing talent, amazing promise in the NFL, but never won on the scale that they hoped he would. And you see that with a lot of. You see that a lot with these top ranked draft choices, where they have a lot of promise and then they just poof, they disappear because they just they were everything was handed to them forever. Okay, so how do I want to do this? What do I want to do? I can do a couple of different things. I can go ahead and sand these down, knock off the edges, sand them down, clean them up. Or I could get on to labeling my bottles. I still got to decide if I'm going to do the clear label or the solid label. What time is it? It's 3:30. I could start labeling. Brains are just as genetic as height, but you don't have to be smart in order to you don't have to be smart in order to know how to learn. There may be a peak of what you can learn, but I tell the kids that I tutor all the time, you don't need to know math in order to do math, because math is just like most problem solving in general is learning a sequence of steps to solve a problem. Learning learning how is as important as anything else. Learn else it is. I mean, you don't. You can always go to. I mean, hell, you can go to your calculator. You can go to uh, tables. You can go to charts and tables, and you can look up the answers to the problems. You don't need to know what 5 times 5 is. You can look up 5 times 5. You have a fucking calculator. You can calculate 5 times 5. But you need to know when to multiply 5 times 5 and when to add it, when to divide it, when to do all the stuff. You need to know the sequence of how to solve problems. And how to solve problems is not an innate it's not necessarily innate to people. We have to learn how to do that. And I mean, there are people who have limits to what they are able to the knowledge that they're able to synthesize is what that the intelligence. Uh, but I really do think that if you know how to solve a problem, or if you know the processes to solve problems, if you can look at a big set of random nonsensical bullshit and be able to cut through the nonsense and bullshit and go, okay, this is what I need to do first. First things first. Let's do the first thing first, and then figure out the next thing, and then figure out the next thing, and figure out the next thing. We didn't put a man on the moon by just waking up one morning and lighting a rocket and sending him to the moon. We had a sequence uh, of like 20 or 30 or so missions to learn the process and learn the sequence and learn what it was we needed to do and figure out the next step and figure out the next step and figure out the next step. Um, Caught using a calculator as a child, instant family dishonor. It's a family dishonor. um, I run into kids all the time who have like learning disabilities. They're not able to synthesize the information. But even if they're not able to synthesize the information, if they know the procedure, if they know the process, of, you're not, you don't necessarily have to be able to look at a number and know. Um, you don't have to look at a number and know it's all of its factors. But if you know the process to finding the factors, you don't have to be able to look at a person and see that they're sick and know what ails them. You have to know the process to go about to identify the symptoms and all that. So you don't have to know all the medical facts to be a good doctor. You just need to know how to do the doctoring stuff. Go from step to step to step. Be a good problem solver. Um, eventually you need to know the facts. You'll be a better doctor if you know the facts, obviously. All right. So should I do these labels or should I do these things? I don't know. I guess I should do the labels. And I said that this was going to be the last batch of clear labels. Should they be the last batch of clear labels or should they be the first batch of new labels? Should they be? Which should they be? I haven't decided. Still haven't decided. Jokic. Okay? 7 feet tall. What makes him insane is that he can see a play before it ever happens. You don't learn it. You just see things that others can't. Well, yeah, you kind of do learn that. Um, and that's what separates a 10-year veteran from a rookie. A 10-year veteran can see them pull the tight end or a 10-year veteran can see him pull the defensive end and move him into another position and say, okay, I know what this play is. I've seen them do this before. Guys, get ready for this whatever variant of the play that we've seen. This is what's going to happen, and he knows where the hole's going to open up, and he knows how to defeat it. That's the difference between a 10-year MMA vet or a 10-year boxing vet or a financial professional who's been in the industry for 20 years versus one who's just started. They may see things differently. They may see new things, but you can look at the market conditions and say, yeah, we've seen this before. We know how it's going to play out, or we've never seen anything like this before, but it's similar to this and this. Here's the differences between that and this, and why this is going to play out differently from that, while everybody else is running around with their hair on fire. Oh, NFL, you mean NBA guy? um, but yeah, I mean, but you do learn that stuff over time, and the difference between Michael Jordan as a kid and Michael Jordan as an adult. I mean, Jesus, Michael Jordan as a kid couldn't hold the damn candle to Michael Jordan as an adult. Michael Jordan as an adult was just that much fucking better. LeBron James or Kobe Bryant in his first 10 years, Hakeem Olajuwon in his first 10 years versus Hakeem Olajuwon in his last 5 years. Night and day. Night and day. Even as his skills diminished, he was a better player because he was just a student of the game and studied the game and how to play the game and how to make his body work better. They were just better at it. And some of that is learned and some of it's not. Some of it's just natural skills. But I mean, Shaquille O'Neal, he was a force of nature as a kid. He was a 300-pound mountain of a man, 8 feet tall, whatever it was. He was a fucking beast. But he got schooled by a guy who was a foot shorter than him and at least 50 pounds lighter than him in the playoffs when he faced Hakeem Olajuwon. He got absolutely embarrassed by Hakeem Olajuwon, who didn't have the physical skill set, was 12 years into his career, was arguably at the peak of his game, and he just absolutely made Shaq look like a chump. Like he almost didn't belong on the court at the same time. Almost. Shaq was definitely a force of nature, but Hakeem, that's a good question. Hakeem was not a 7-footer. He was like 6'10". Yeah, he might have been 3 inches shorter. Hakeem Olajuwon's height was, I think, his actual height was not, he was listed as a 7-footer. He's listed as, what is he? He was always listed as a 7-footer, but he was not a 7-footer. He was more like 6'10". His listed height is 7 feet. He's not. His listed height is 7 feet. He's not 7 feet tall. Shaquille O'Neal height is okay. So Shaq was 7'1", but he looks bigger. He looks bigger than 7'1", and yeah, it was like a 3-inch difference. You're right, but 325 pounds for Shaq versus Hakeem's playing weight of Hakeem's weight was, what was Hakeem's weight at his time? His listed weight was 255. So Shaq was 75 pounds heavier. He was a fucking monster. 75 pounds heavy. I mean, when you put the two side by side, it looked like they were like one of those Russian nesting dolls. You could take Shaquille and open him up and pull Hakeem out and put Shaquille back. They looked like, I mean, it was a remarkable difference between the two of them. It really was. They were, but Akeem absolutely put the wood to that boy. Absolutely. I mean, that guy was 75 pounds heavier than Akeem Olajuwon, and Akeem just danced around him like he just didn't even belong. It was fun to watch. It was absolutely fun to watch as a Rockets fan. And what he did the year before to David Robinson. Again, absolutely fun to watch. And David Robinson was another guy. I swear to God, it looked like David Robinson towered over Akeem. But those two guys were probably built more closely to each other. I'm going to do 4 of these bottles because I have an unfinished case over there. And I'm definitely going to finish the case with these 4. Or nearly finish the case with these 4. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And delicious, too. That's probably even more important. Not only does it look good, but it tastes good. Ah, shit, it's off center. That's okay. The Robinson was crushed by Akeem. Spurs couldn't double Akeem because the Rockets double. Oh, I'm not even talking about the on the defensive side. When Akeem and Robinson went head to head, when Robinson was going 1-on-1 with Akeem, he could not hang. He absolutely could not hang. And yeah, I the Spurs couldn't double team Akeem Olajuwon, and that's because they couldn't double team Akeem Olajuwon. They could not contain Akeem Olajuwon. Robinson could not even come close to handling Akeem. And it was fun to watch. It was so sweet. He was so smooth, so easy, so just remarkable in that entire series. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and Rodman's not that great of a basketball player. He's good at defense, and that's it. That's all he was good. That's the only reason why he was good at. Nobody could hang 1-on-1 with Robinson or Akeem. Well, I mean, nobody could hang 1-on-1 with Akeem. That's for sure. At least one guy could hang 1-on-1 with Robinson, and he did regularly. Oh, I didn't sign these bottles. These bottles were supposed to be signed, and I don't have space on the shelf for all 4 of them. So they're going to go, okay, so these are batch. What should I do with these? Rodman was a bitch. He was not good. He was not a good basketball player. He was only good with he was only a good basketball player in his years with the Bulls. When he wasn't with the Bulls, he was a temperamental, show-off bitch. I mean, he was great on defense. He could rebound like a beast. But if all you want was a rebounder, and if you wanted an actual basketball player, he was not a good basketball. Like he was not just like a Hardman. Hardman. Name's evading me. James Harden, not Hardman. James Harden. He's great on offense. He could be good on defense. He's shown that he can play defense, but he doesn't. So, is he a good basketball player? He's good on offense. I don't know if he's a good basketball player. I wouldn't consider him a good. Mm. He was pretty good on the Pistons. I think he was more of an all-around basketball player with the Pistons. He was tenacious on defense. He was more of an all-around basketball player with the Pistons. But he was the Dennis Rodman that we came to know and love was the Dennis Rodman from the Bulls, who was just 2 points a night and 25 rebounds or whatever he would do. Um, and then he was, that's how he became a thing, and everybody just, I think he's probably one of the top. He's counted among the top 50 players in the history of the league, but whatever. But to be completely fair, I haven't been a really close student of the NBA for 15 years, probably. I've watched it. I've kind of it's in passing. I've paid attention to it, but I haven't like watched a lot of games the way I did back in the early 2000s and mid 90s. Back when he was Akeem, he was 6'10". um, yeah, well, I mean, when Akeem and Shaq were going head to head, the difference between them was, I think, the athleticism, the nimbleness, the smoothness of style, and the experience. Akeem, I mean, Akeem could dance circles around Shaq because Shaq was so big and so heavy. Shaq could plug up like a whole quarter of the court just because he's Shaq. But Akeem would just spin around him, and Shaq would be like, but it's that difference uh, between the raw skill. I mean, I really do think that at his peak, Shaq probably had more tools than Akeem Olajuwon had. Because Shaq did have that same athleticism. Shaq could get his 300 pounds moving. He could be just as swift and just as nimble and just as I won't go so far as say light on his feet, but he had some quickness to him. But he was never as quick as Akeem Olajuwon because Akeem Olajuwon was just a smaller frame. But what Akeem Olajuwon lacked in the physical, just the physical numbers he had, he made up for in just the absolute abilities that he honed over time. That dream shake, that hook that he had, that he could twist and turn. He was here, then he was over there, and god damn, it was fun watching that guy play basketball. He was as fun to watch play basketball as it was to watch Barry Sanders run the football, because Barry Sanders was another one of those guys who was close like teleport. He was here and he'd turn his shoulders that way and be over there 3 yards just like that, and you as the defender, you're diving up and you didn't even your eyes. He was gone, and all you could see a little sprinkle of dust in the air, and as a portal closed and he opened up over there, and he was unbelievable that way that guy could just change position in space. So much fun to watch. But again, one of those guys who, as he developed his skill and as he developed his talent, the rest of the team around him didn't. He took off his resources, and they just couldn't. They couldn't build a team around him. He got paid though. That's what he got. Um, his footwork and mobility, certainly an insane amount. Yeah, yeah. Motor skills, balance is just there. Yeah, there's a lot of, without question, there's a lot of these athletes that are just blessed genetically. There's genetic gifts that these guys get blessed with. That's what separates the Olympians. Like you and I could not just go become Olympians. There's no amount of work that I could put in to be able to outswim Michael Phelps. Never going to happen. Never in a zillion years. Never, ever, 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 ever. Not blessed with those unique physical gifts. But for mortals, there, for mortals among us, those of us who are mortals, there is a, uh, and swimming's not fair because you're racing a clock in swimming. You're racing the water. The water doesn't give a shit. But in something like soccer, uh, no, even if you are blessed with physical gifts, if you have a head full of doorknobs, you're not gonna reach the level of success as someone with, say, 80% of your gifts or 75% of your gifts, or maybe even 50% of your gifts, who has a work ethic who will outwork you. There comes a level where your gifts will take you far enough, and you have to couple that with work. Your gifts can take you up to a certain point, and your gifts can take you to the goddamn stratosphere. But if you don't attach the work ethic to it, those are going to fade over time. And when you're even somebody who's blessed with the best of genetic gifts will get old eventually. And oftentimes the people blessed with the best genetic gifts get old faster than the people who aren't blessed with the best genetic gifts. You're going at 100%, um, all the time. Springs break, belts come off. Your bones and your muscles can only take so much of that. Just ask J.J. Watt or Brian Cushing. Brian Cushing, he jacked himself up with the steroids and overclocked himself, and he was out for what, 5 years, maybe longer, but if it seemed like 5 years. It seemed like he was injured for most of his career, and then he was out because of the steroids. Um, 9 out of 10, Barry was on his ass with it. That 10th run. That is true. That's correct. When you don't have an offensive line and you're just garbage, you get 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, and pow, he's gone. There was a lot of times when he just ran into a pile of jerseys because the Detroit Lions sucked. They were a shitty team. There was one guy making $40 million and everybody else was making the league minimum. Welcome to Barry Sanders' team. Um, and that son of a bitch would never take a pay cut to help the rest of the team. He got his money. But I mean, there comes a point, where you're, well, no, I, I don't think that I think work ethic is a learned behavior. Um, I think it's a learned behavior. I think that is something you don't, there's no gene that makes you get up in the morning and do the work. There's no discipline gene. The um, discipline is something that comes to us from somewhere. I don't know where it comes, but I don't think there's a discipline gene. There's a gene, there's a genetic factor that limits how much you can synthesize, but there's not a genetic factor that limits how much you can seek to synthesize. You can you can constantly be trying to learn, wanting to try to learn. And I've seen it with people that they're just like disinterested. They only want to do the stuff that's easy for them. They don't want to do the stuff that's hard. They don't want to, you know, they don't want to practice things that don't come easy to them. They just want to, you know, they just want to be good at playing the violin, and they play the stuff on the violin that they're good at playing. They want to be good at, you know, whatever, woodwork or the stuff that they know how to do. So they work on the stuff they know how to do and they don't ever explore anything. And that's not genetic. That's not. That's got to be 100% learned behavior. Uh, that's generational poverty type shit. That's not. Yeah, that no. I'm not buying the fact that there are that as a function of who your parents were, as a function of what your parents teach you, maybe that's the discipline, a function of what they model to you and a function of what they push you to do, but not just, if you take this kid out of this household and put him in another household, he's still going to have the same set of genetic tools that makes him lazy. Nah, I'm not buying that. I don't think people are born lazy. I think people learn to be lazy. They learn to be lazy because they can get away with being lazy. Um, and sometimes it's the most talented people among us who learn to be lazy because they don't have to work. They don't have to try. There's no try when you're already in the top quarter. When you're born on second base, you don't have to learn how to stretch out a single. uh, you don't ever have to learn how to steal second base when you're born there. Um, and there's a lot of folks. There's a lot of folks who are blessed in the genetic lottery and in the social lottery, and they just like, I don't have to try. I mean, I'm already a millionaire. Fuck it. What do I care? Yep. Yeah. Anyway. But entertainment. Would you agree men and women on average have a different temperament? Men and women on average. Do men and women on average have a different temperament? That's a good question. Um, I'm going through all the scenarios in my head. Like guys, we're thought of as being hotheads and violent, but also guys are like, whatever, fucking, I'll just do the fucking work. The quiet, strong man who just does his work. I should fucking be doing something, not just sitting on my ass. I feel like I should be doing something. Do I want to be doing the clear labels? I should do the clear labels. Have one more shipment of clear labels. Get these boxed up, out the door, and then switch over to the solid labels. Yep. Y'all will be introduced to the new labels at another time. We're going to do clear labels today. Um, I think I don't think men and women inherently have a different temperament. I think we're oftentimes encouraged to have the temperaments that we do. I think our temperaments are very much learned behaviors. I think and we're seeing that kind of get challenged a lot, is that you know what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman. Those are very much social constructs. Boys' toys, girls' toys. Those are very much social constructs. So I think that I don't think that we necessarily have different temperaments. I don't think we necessarily have affinities for certain things. I think we're taught to have affinities towards certain things. There's a lot of guys who like to cook, for example. But for years, that was woman's work, right? I think, yeah, I don't think, I wouldn't say that naturally, just as a function of our I don't think our temperament has a whole lot to do with our genetics. Because I think women can be just as violent as men. Men can be just as nurturing as women if encouraged to do so. But we don't encourage it. And I think we're seeing a lot of that be challenged today. You know, the archaic structures and strictures of how we grow up. If a dad takes his daughter hunting and camping with him, well, lo and behold, she turns into a woman who likes hunting and camping. But if you don't take your daughter hunting and camping, well, she probably doesn't grow up to like hunting and camping. And not to belabor the point, but if you don't take your sons hunting and camping, guess what? They grow up to be sons who don't like hunting and camping. Don't nature didn't make women through hormones more designed for motherhood, men more designed to go out and bring food to his wife. I think the hormone for the way the hormones interact is that it makes men, well, hell, shit, it doesn't even technically make us stronger. It affects our physiology, and just like you see when you see a big kid in middle school, he becomes a basketball player versus, you see that tall kid, he's a basketball player. Our physiology, our roles become partially defined by our physiology. But I don't think, I mean, women are just as capable. Hold on a second. I hear voices outside. You hear that too, buddy? Let's go see what's going on. Hold on. Stay there. Stay. Stay. Ah, she's running with the puppy that Wally was playing with earlier. Nope, you stay. You stay. Yeah, so there's that German Shepherd that Wally was playing with earlier. I assume he was playing. He doesn't play, like, he doesn't hang out with other dogs very often, so it's hard to know if he was playing or being aggressive. But now he's upset because he saw the puppy running with some lady. She was a sweet dog. He's just an idiot. And I get nervous about him being an idiot around other dogs because I don't want the other dog to get hurt. Or my dog, for that matter. Anyway, what was I saying? I think women are just as capable of protecting and bringing in food and doing all this. I mean, they're in a division of labor subtext. It may be more efficient to send the larger one out to do the hunting and do the stuff, but that doesn't mean that they're more hormonally designed to do that. I think we define the roles based on physical capability, but at the same time, there are plenty of matriarchal societies where the women hunt or hunted. Pre-Columbian societies where women would hunt along with the men, especially when it was an endurance hunting type of circumstance, because women are just as capable of endurance activities as men. Men are physiologically stronger, so men's marathon times are shorter than women's marathon times. But when you start getting into longer and longer distances,
That's an interesting fact is when you start getting into longer and longer distances and away from the shorter distances, like when you start going into 50 miles and 100 miles, women's times and men's times get remarkably close. When you start talking, when you get away from pure power and into endurance. Oh fuck. So no, I don't think that women are hormonally designed to stay home and nurture, and men are hormonally designed to go out uh, and kill things and bring them back to the cave. I think women are just as capable of doing that as men are. We just, in a division of labor subtext, we say, hey, I'll go pick up the heavy shit. Why don't you stay home and not do that? And, more often than not, they're like, yeah, go ahead and lift the heavy shit. That's fine. I mean, Jesus, if some dude told me, hey, I'll go lift the heavy shit, why don't you chill out and hang out? Like, yeah, you go lift the heavy shit. I'll sit back and chill. That's cool. I'll do the paperwork. You go lift the heavy shit. I mean, shit, I'm almost 50. I'm 47 years old. I don't want to lift the heavy shit if I don't have to lift the heavy shit. I'm I'm not an idiot. Men cannot breastfeed. Oh, we can't breastfeed, but we can also we may not be able to breastfeed, but we can definitely milk a fucking cow. I mean, saying that breastfeeding is the only way to feed a child is ridiculous. Hormonal differences impact our personality. I mean, maybe hormonal differences impact our personality. I don't know. I don't know. I doubt it. Maybe. I mean, hormonal differences can definitely impact our physiology. Like, for example, breastfeeding. You know, I can't do it. I am physically incapable. But I am perfectly capable of feeding my child. I can I can buy milk. I can milk a cow. I can milk a goat. I assume that I could probably learn how to milk a fucking almond if I needed to. And I am also 100% certain that my hormones did not prevent me from nurturing my children. I nurtured the shit out of my kids. I think, Jesus, for the first like 48 hours, when my wife was recovering from childbirth, I was the only person my little one saw. The drugs knocked her for a fucking loop. And I was perfectly capable of feeding those babies for the first 48 hours. I was really good at it. The For the 10 fastest finishers ever. Well, that's the 10 fastest finishers ever. You're talking about the fastest ever. Look at the rest of the field, Dustin. I mean, Jesus, you want to compare the one to the one. Compare the sample size, man. You know the difference between sample size and individual points. And what I said was, when you start talking about longer distances, those times start to fall. The differences and the physiological difference, you get away from the power and into the endurance, they start to come together. the differences aren't as stark. I mean, I think the fastest. I mean, when you start talking about marathons and half marathons, I mean, the fastest men's marathon is approaching 2 hours. I think. I don't remember. I can't remember. It's been a while since I looked at it. But yeah, when you get away from power and into endurance, it starts to balance out the whole field. Averages, average times. And I'm not talking about the fat loser guys like me who run a 5-hour marathon. We don't count. We're not. We don't need to be part of that equation. But the rest of the field, the like the norms, the normies, not the mortals. I'm not talking about the record winners. I'm talking about everybody else. The middle of the pack performers, or I guess even the front of the pack performers are the middle of the pack, I suppose. Well, it's not just mostly weight. Weight is a function of it, but it's also just endurance. 100-mile endurance runners. It's just yeah, it's just it. Endurance doesn't have anything to do with power. It has to do with strength, but not power, and that's where the biggest difference physiologically between men and women are. When you strip it down to the brass tacks, and start looking at endurance, much a matter of strength and power. The differences between men, the body, the strength of the muscles, the power. It becomes the depth of what's in the tank, how much energy, how much fuel, how you synthesize the fuel and translate it into work. And physiologically, men and women aren't really that drastically different when you come to something like that. When you get when you there are no social structures after 100 miles. There's not a whole lot. You don't give a shit. Um, you don't give a shit if it's a men's drink or a woman's drink when you've gone 100 miles or 50 miles, or in my case, it was just 26. You don't give a shit. Like, I don't care if that's a men's blanket or a women's blanket. I just need a blanket. I'm cold. I don't give a shit if that's a men's flask or a women's flask. I'm thirsty. Give me a drink. I don't care if that's a men's banana or a women's banana. Give me a fucking banana. I'm hungry. Just make it a cold banana, because warm bananas taste like ass. They're disgusting. There was this one stop along the MS 150. The MS 150 is a 150-mile bike ride. It's not a race. Bike ride that goes from Houston to Austin. And there was this one stop just outside of Bastrop on the second day, and they had run out of bananas like 5 minutes before I got there. And the guy went to his truck and got the bananas out of the inside of his fucking truck, like the passenger seat of his truck. It was a case of bananas in the passenger seat. And these bananas had been sitting in there for at least an hour, baking in the sun, and they were hot banana, and it tasted, oh my God, it is to this day the absolute worst thing. And I've had Brussels sprouts. It is the absolute worst thing that I can remember ever eating. Like, all I wanted was a banana. And I got this warm, disgusting pile of shit. I was unpleased. Absolutely unpleased. Changes in sex difference in running speed and annual fastest for analyzing linear, nonlinear. Now there is, I think there was an editor or a contributor to Running Magazine several years ago. I read this where he was going through a sex change, going from male to female, and taking hormones to to transition from male to female, and the hormones started impacting his performance as a runner as he transitioned from male to female, and he was no longer able to keep up with his running group of guys. Um, he was still able to finish the distances, but he was no longer able to keep up. And it was a fascinating. It's been probably 20 years since I read it, so I don't remember all the details. But I mean, there are obviously physiological differences. I mean, you can look at a girl and see there's most girls, and see that there's a physiological difference between females and males. But I don't think that inherently um, affects behavior, because I think by and large behavior uh, is a learned. I mean, there may be kids who just want to play house and be, you know, but I don't think it's necessarily inherently female girls that want to play house and do stuff. I mean, there's a whole lot of boys that play house with girls as children. Children don't fucking know the difference if you just let them play. I mean, well, my kids, they had no interest in dolls, but um, my godson absolutely had interest in dolls, dragon dolls, and all kinds of stuff. My boys still have stuffed animals. Not so much interested in dolls, but they still have, they still have their stuffed animals. My oldest doesn't. He still has them in his room, but he doesn't have them in his bed anymore. He wasn't ever interested in dolls or playing house or anything like that, but he loved his stuffed animals. And maybe there's a difference between stuffed animals and dolls, but I don't see it. I never had any interest in that sort of shit. But I'm not everybody. I don't think that as a function of her uterus, my wife would be incapable of protecting the house. She's quite good at protecting herself and protecting the kids. Oops. Oh yeah, I watched a documentary just the other day called Bigorexia, that's specifically about people injecting huge amounts of steroids. The aggression that comes with the uh, with the steroids and all that, the overdosing of steroids and stuff. But see, that's the thing. Women don't not have testosterone in their system. Women have testosterone in their system. They just have estrogen too. They're I mean, I just think a lot of these roles that we assign to people, men breadwinner, woman housekeeper, nurturer. I think a lot of that shit is just we make that shit up. There's there's absolutely no reason why it couldn't be the other way around. It's just the way we've done it. And in a lot of cases, it's the way we've done. It's the way we do it because it's the way we've done it. And that's a dumb reason to keep doing something. Boys' toys and girls' toys. That shit's nonsense. If your toy is gender specific, it's not for kids. Because that means it goes in or on a sex organ. And that is not for kids. That's for grown-ups. And I don't have any problem them selling that in stores, just not in the kids' toy aisle. What time is it? 4:30? Yeah, we are discussing probability, not possibility. But it's not random either. It's not a random case of somebody just waking up one day and going, "Oh, I think I want to go hunting." That behavior is taught. That is taught. And I don't know, maybe I'm just different. Maybe I don't have to have my manhood validated by doing traditional manhood things. I don't have to go and show people how much of a man I am. I think a lot of that shit's dumb. Stupid social constructs that we invented for people, to check off lists and check off boxes. It's ridiculous. It always makes me chuckle when I see a guy say, or I hear a guy say something like that. Well, I know what it is to be a man. Oh, do you? You know what it is to be a man? Really? Give me your criteria, because I guarantee you I can find a man just as manly as you that doesn't check those boxes. Hell, I can find a woman that does check those boxes. Because, not every woman needs a fucking man to take care of her house. There's plenty of single moms out there who do the same work as a man. Protect their family, protect their household, brings in the bacon. There's plenty of single fathers who have to do the shit that women do. Nurture their kids and do their hair and, I don't know, buy dresses and tampons or whatever guys have to do for. I don't have any girls. I only have boys. Talk about feelings and shit. See, even that, not, having feelings. That's a girl thing to do, right? Like, guys don't talk about feelings. We don't have feelings. We just shut up, knuckle up, and take it. We deal with it. We don't have feelings. We're not allowed to because we're guys. Guys don't have feelings. We get guns and we shoot stuff. Be a man. What are you crying for, you little bitch? Grow up. What are you, a baby? Yeah, see? That's all learned behavior. All learned behavior. We don't have to be physically confrontational. That's learned behavior. Learn without physical confrontation. Not all of us have those skill sets. God knows I don't. But you can learn them. That's not what men do. We just fight it out and then have a beer. Well, we don't have to. Legit expressing one of the most alpha male things I've seen right now. I don't. I'm not familiar. I don't know what it is that I'm expressing that is super alpha male. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that ecosphere. I mock and deride alpha male shit. Because I don't buy into the concept. I don't buy into the notion of alpha male and beta male and all that shit. It it it's fake. It's a myth. It doesn't. There's no such thing. There's learned leadership behavior. That's certainly a thing. All right, what's going on in here? Unless you're talking about my like work, own work. Never see a child who doesn't fight as a kid. Oh yeah, no, no, no. Children fight. They fight all the time. They absolutely fight. Men, boys and girls both will fight. And girls are told that's not ladylike. Boys are told, well, boys will be boys. Girls are also told, like, that's inappropriate behavior. You need to not do that. We don't do that shit anymore, kid. You can get your jaw jacked if you're not careful. But again, learned behavior. They're taught that it's okay, or they're taught that it's not okay. Taught proper ways to channel it. The number of girls in karate classes, young girls, I'm not talking about like grown up ladies who are in it for some presumed self defense that they're never going to use, or for self confidence that they will use. The number of girls, that's probably 50-50. My kids' old karate classes. Probably half and half. Probably. Which is pretty cool, I suppose. Oh, 100% talk about my work, like what I'm doing right now. Alpha male shit. Okay. I mean, I suppose. I went out and started my own business. Started my own business. I fucking self starter stuff. Have to get up in the morning. Have to go do the work. Nobody else is going to make the donuts for me, I guess. But I am taking my sweet damn time putting these labels on just to make sure they get on right. They're done right and they're done well. So it has taken me a little bit longer than normal. Maybe I should stop halfway, do half a load of the old label, half a load of the new label. Maybe that. No, I'll just finish it with the label. Create a bigger divide in men and women. Scandinavian countries have done the most to create egalitarian results ever. Boys fight more than girls. I'm 100% talking about it. Okay. Scandinavian countries have done the most to create egalitarian results ever. They've created a bigger divide in terms of jobs. I'll have to take your word for that. But that'll be an interesting thing to check up on. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if the results of a well-intended experiment ended up being something other than what they intended them to be. um, you know, you make the effort to have a more balanced, fair, and egalitarian society, and you end up with something else entirely. Would not shock me. But yeah, no, I don't think hormones make men any more likely to be electing CEOs because you have a system to change the system. It's not going to change the system. You're just going to get more of the same system. Hmm. Do I think some people? I think some people do like working with things, and some people like working with systems, or with people. I think that is probably true, and it may be, it may be part physiological, it may be part psychological, part social. There may be a physiology point to that, but it's hard to put your finger on it. Because I mean, I know what you're getting at. That like women tend to gravitate towards fields where they work with people, and men gravitate towards fields where they work with men or with objects. I've seen that study too. I've seen that argument. I've heard that argument and seen studies like that. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's something in guys that they just want to play with toys and not people. Because we're not special. There's nothing, you know, you put guys together, we work perfectly fine with other people. You know? I mean, Jesus, think of like literally every single team sport. There are very few team sports. Hell, even individual sports like golf. It's you versus the golf course, right? But does anybody ever go play golf by themselves? What kind of fucking psychopath goes out to the golf course by themselves? It's always a foursome or you have a caddy. I mean, sometimes, I've gone and played golf by myself because I am a psychopath. Without question, I am a psychopath. Nobody who does the shit that I do would not be considered a psychopath. Guys work better in groups than women. I don't know about that, but maybe we do. Maybe we're, but I really do think a lot of that is just socialized from a really young age. Uh, and I always thought that women worked better in groups than guys. And Jesus, every fucking committee that I've ever been on has been chock full of women because they just can't stand being by themselves. They want to fucking they want to hear their voices and other people's voices, and they just want to talk. And Jesus Christ, put me in a room by myself. Good God. But I think I've seen Jason Peterson, whatever the fucking dude's name is, talk about that frequently, that women gravitate towards jobs where you work with other people and men gravitate toward. That's why you have more computer scientists and electricians and, you know, stuff like that. Coders who are dudes because they gravitate towards fields, and then your teachers and receptionists and all of that. But I asked this on my Twitter a few weeks back. Like, when was the first time you had a male teacher who wasn't a coach? The first time you had a male teacher who wasn't a coach. Like, for me, I think it might have been high school. No, it was definitely middle school. First time I had a male teacher who wasn't a coach was middle school. That is some socialized behavior right there. That is socialized, learned behavior. There's no reason that a grown ass man can't teach 6-year olds. I don't have patience for that shit. But that's also learned behavior. Patience with little fucking kids. Jordan, thank you. If anybody had small dick energy, it's that guy. Um, I don't remember what I was saying. I'm hungry. I didn't eat lunch. And I don't have any fucking food here. Should have a ginger ale. As I was leaving the house today, my son, my youngest, I left the house around 12, I think, 12:30. I was waiting for my phone to charge up, so I got a little bit of a late start today. My son's like, "Are we gonna have lunch?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead and have lunch." He wanted me to make lunch for him. Like, you're fucking 11 years old, kid. Make your own damn lunch. You're not a baby. Um, well, yeah. I mean, that's the cultural connotation. If you're a male teacher, you're a man in a woman's field, right? Why are you teaching little kids? Some kind of pedophile? You gay homosexual? What's going on, weirdo? Um, that's the social connotation. That's the side eye that guys get if they want to be teachers. That is full on socialized behavior, learned behavior, socialization. Full on learned behavior. Men's work, women's work. Why would you do a woman's job? I guarantee if more men were teachers, it wouldn't pay less. Guarantee it. I think the reality is men don't usually want to do that job. You're right. But how much of it is that they're just physiologically not suited for it? Or they think it is a job that they would be thought of as a pedophile and paid less, and that they could go and make more money elsewhere. I mean, it is a skilled position. You are literally teaching little bitty kids how to be big kids and filling their heads with education. When they're kindergarten, first grade, second grade, you're literally teaching these children not to be babies. You're teaching them to use the bathroom when they have to go. You're teaching them to not wet their pants. You're teaching them to not bite, to not fight, to not kick, to not hit, to share, to be kind to each other. You are literally, it is real important work. It is high level uh, cognitive behavioral skill sets. And I can tell you, there's more than one occasion where I went into my wife's classroom, coming to visit her, coming to drop off keys, coming to say hi, whatever it was. There's more than one occasion when I went in there and all I did is walked into the doorway and you could hear a fucking pin drop. You don't think I could control those goddamn kids? Control a goddamn room full of them. Blink of an eye. Here it's sunset. I need to schedule a date in April to do a tasting. Look at my account. I gotta go look at my notebook real quick. See if I've got a good Saturday. I can probably do a Thursday. Hang on, let me send a quick text. How does Thursday the 13th? Is there another day? Um, or Friday the 14th. Let's do that. Look at me. I just scheduled a tasting later this month. But yeah, I mean, it's not work that I want to do because it pays less and I don't want to be thought of as a pedophile, and but it's not work that I am incapable of doing. Just the physical presence of me terrifies little kids. I'm damn near 6 feet tall. They're barely 3 feet. I tower over them like a fucking monster. I look like I'm grouchy as fuck all the time. I probably have more control and command over little bitty kids like that than I do over the big kids. The big kids think I'm just going to be fun. Like, oh, another old man. Let's talk to him. The little kids are worried I'm going to bite their feet off before I go back to my bridge. Rah! Anyway, what are we talking about? So I think more men would teach smaller kids if it wasn't a stigma, but overall, teachers, no way in hell. More. Oh yeah, if there wasn't a stigma, there would probably be more men willing to do that job. And I also guarantee if more men did the job, it would pay better. Because the people who decide how much teachers get paid would decide that teachers make more money, would decide that teachers have more value if the teachers were men. Because the teachers who decide how much teachers get, or the people who decide how much teachers get paid, also, overall, the vast majority of them happen to be men. Troglodyte asshole men, I might add. But, I mean, Jesus Christ, they were in the fucking Texas legislature just this week. They voted down a bill to give teachers a pay raise. And one of the fucking legislators came up there and he said, we had $15,000 pay raise. Y'all moved it to $10,000. Why not 15? And the guy sponsoring the bill said, yeah, we'll make it 15. Do you want to sign on to that? Because they didn't have the votes for it to be 15. You want to sign on to that? He said, sure. Why not 20? He said, yeah, we'll make it 20. Do you want to sign on to that? He said, why not 30? He said, we'll make it 30 right now. I'll put it down right now. We'll make the amendment 30. Will you sign on to it? And the guy said, 40. We'll make it 40. Why not that? He said, sure. Will you sign on to that? Will you put your signature and co-sponsor that amendment? And then he said, no, we're just going to vote it down. And he put down the microphone. He walked off. That happened in the Texas legislature. These fucking people, they don't respect teachers. They don't respect teacher pay. They don't fucking, ugh. They're dirtbags. They're rotten piece of shit dirtbags. Every fucking one of them. But yeah, that's how it goes. Um, I did decide to finish out the clear labels, Dustin. Uh, Not if more money did more getting tossed by school kids. Getting tossed by school kids. But see, that's the thing. Since I started tutoring in math, as I started tutoring, it was really funny. The first couple of weeks I was in the place, like the kids were fucking terrified. They saw me come in, and you could see their eyes. They were big eyes, just terrified. And I'm talking to them like, okay, so what are we going to do today? How have you been in school? And they're just like, just absolutely horrified. Like, oh my God, he's going to bite my feet off. Ah, label's not coming off. That one come off? That one come off. Okay. Back label first, front label second now. But yeah, in general, I don't have the patience for that shit. I have the patience for one at a time, two at a time, sometimes four at a time. But there's definitely days that I don't have the patience for that shit at all. Just like, I mean, in general, I mean, well, specifically, I like my kids. Like, I'm not going to go so far as to say I like kids all the time. And almost all the time, I don't like your kids because I haven't had time to train your kids. Your kids have had a lifetime of not knowing who I am and how to act. And then they come to me, and I got to be like, all right, look here. We don't do that shit. You better shape up. God damn it. We're beginning to get label malfunctions. You're the one that I want. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Woo-hoo-hoo. What's it say? I'm overwhelmingly called a left-wing socialist. Yeah, I'm accused of being a socialist sometimes too. Just because, I dare to think that people should have health care. And maybe, not commit crimes and maybe be thrown in jail if they do. Shame on me. But I'm fine with that. Whatever. Um, Not even pay $25 an hour to a Home Depot worker. I shouldn't have. Well, unless you own a Home Depot, that's not an issue, Ting. Uh, but I can tell you the going rate for brand ambassadors is about $20 an hour for only 3 hours of work. And those motherfuckers don't always sell whiskey. Sometimes they just stand around and have big tits. That's all it takes to be a good brand ambassador, according to some brands. I'm a former Houston, Texas cheerleader. Look at me. Why should we look at you? What are you selling, you dumb idiot? I mean, I can give you plenty of reasons to look at her, but why should I pay you to have people look at you? You can go to InstaFans and OnlyGrams and have people pay to look at you all day long. What do you need me to do it for? I need you to sell whiskey. And while you're at it, get off my lawn, you darn kids. Rah, rah, rah. But it is kind of funny at this place where I tutor. I'm such a mystery to these kids. They're like, "How old are you? When were you born? Where do you live? Where are you from?" Nah, nah, nah. It's so funny. They are so curious because I am so vastly different from all the other tutors in the room. It cracks me up. And I'm like, I was born in the late 20th century. They're like, "You're like a century old." I'm like, "Yeah, that's it, you fucking idiot. This is why you need math tutoring." They're good kids. I like them. Most of them. Made one cry the other day. I'd want 40 an hour to promote your whiskey. It would not be hard to sell more than a big tittied woman. Every time I've hired an ambassador who is not me, they don't sell shit. Which is frustrating. Because it's like I'm paying you to sell whiskey, not stand there in hot pants. So, if I were to pay you $40 an hour, you would have to look good in hot pants. Because that is part of the job. And I would be willing to pay you $40 an hour if you could sell more than me. In a fucking heartbeat. But I will be closed now since I booked a tasting on a Friday, so I will not be open on Friday the 14th. Book it. Let's go. Book it. Yeah, I'm a sexist. I agree. That I am. I'm a man of a certain time. I at least acknowledge it. I'm also an elitist, a slight misogynist, and blessed with a tremendous amount of white privilege that I do, in fact, take advantage of when I get the chance to do so. I don't make the rules. I just abide by them and do the best I can to change them when I get the opportunity. It is what it is. I mean, I'm also an American, but that doesn't mean I'm going to give spot the Russians 20 tanks and blow up my own tanks. Fuck those guys. It's important to know when you have an advantage and take advantage of it when you can. But not, lord it over people because that would be crass. But it would also be crass to lie about it, I mean, if I could run a 4-second 40, I wouldn't sit here and lie and say, "Oh no, you got a chance." Or however long it takes to run 40 meters. I don't know. How long has it been since I run a 40 meter? Oh no. You got a chance. I might break my ankle on the starting block. It could happen. A channel that sells insane whiskey. It is the top shelf Dustin or top shelf whatever it is. I've seen your reviews. Honestly, the stuff I mostly watch on YouTube is like movies and history and shit. How to build stuff. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 more cases. I should be done in about 30 minutes. Give or take. Y'all can't even see what I'm doing right now, can you? You just see my big old head bent down looking at something. Let's do this. Do this. Oh, that's not what it's supposed to do. There you go. Look at my feet. Doo doo doo. All right, so I have a problem with my cable right now. You're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Ooh, 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 honey, the one that I want. You are the one I want. Ooh, 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 honey, you're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right, that's getting there. Then I can just maybe reposition. Hang on, I gotta figure something. I gotta move some things around real quick. Hold on. I had to go check something outside. I am gonna get that ginger ale. And you know what? I'm even gonna pour myself a drink. So I'm over here at the bar. I have ice. I'm gonna have some ice, a little whiskey, just a shot. I'm not gonna over pour myself. Be an appropriate amount. I hope this is no, that's the straight whiskey, I think. And a little ginger ale. There we go. Oh, yes, indeed. You're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Ooh, 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 honey. All right. This is the famous Ting Ting can. All right. Cheers, Dustin. Talk to you later, man. Sell a lot of it. Top shelf whiskey. I've seen your channel. It's I but like I said, most of what I watch on YouTube, no kidding, is history stuff. Whoop, there it almost fell off the fucking history stuff, gaming stuff. I don't watch a lot of whiskey tube stuff. That should just about do it. There. Now y'all can see what I'm doing. Get out of the way, puppy. Is that good? All right, that's good. I think that's good. Oops. I'm going to move it up a little bit to right about there. There we go. All right. And there it is. Ba-bum. Ba-bum. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you, Ting. This is the Ting Ting cam. This is the angle that you requested that I do, and I set it up. The Ting Ting cam. An overhead shot. And once we move over here, it'll be a better angle, but right now it is what it is. And I guess I could move it over there now. There's nothing stopping me, right? I mean, I can just clear out a space, right? Can't I? Let's see here. How much do it? Now, I need to clear out a little bit more space. I need to get some more bottles knocked down. Then I can move it. These are the clear labels. I'll show you know what? I'm gonna show y'all a secret. It's deep enough in. There's just a couple of y'all there. This is the label that will be introduced in the summertime. Y'all ready for this? How many people do we have? Just 3? Ready? That's it. That's all you get to see. That's all you get to see. That's it. I'm not gonna show you any more than that. Just that. You've had your preview. That's all you're getting. No more. That is your sneak preview. The actual unveiling will be in a couple of months. Oh, but you know what else you haven't seen? This is the 72-hour blackout label. Oh, get ready for this. Nobody has seen this. Except for like 6 people. You ready? You ready? Ready? That's it. That's all you get to see. That's it. I'm not going to show you any more. That's all I'm going to show you. That's all. That's all you get to see. Special edition, limited run. I only had 250 of those printed, period. So there's going to be less than 250 bottles made of that particular blend of our whiskey. So there you have it. Did I already show it? Did it already come out? Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Special edition 72-hour blackout bourbon. Bombed sow. Huh? Bombed sow? I think you mean Boomtown. Bombed sow. That's funny. But it's a different style label. It's a different fabric. It's paper instead of polyurethane. Okay. You're the 8th to see that label. You might be. You just might be. But yeah, there's only a handful of people who've seen it at all. And I've actually I have it here at the distillery, but nobody knows what it is. Like it's at my bar. It's behind the bar. It's on a shelf behind the bar, so you can see it when you come in. And there's a few people who've seen it. They've come in and seen it and bought some bottles, but they haven't commented on it. They didn't notice it. They didn't notice it enough to say, "Hey, well, what's that?" Because it's not on the bar. And I have teased out a photo of it that was all dark, so nobody could see it. I might do a photo that's all blurry. That'd be pretty funny. But I'm getting really excited about the solid blue label. I really want. I'm really looking forward to releasing that because that'll finish our label line. That'll get all of our legacy labels um, up to our consistent branding standard that I want to be at. And then, cheers. Um, I've got to update all my photos that have the clear labels, that have the silver labels, that have, all of my product branding photos. Get all that updated, get it updated on the website, there's a lot of work to be done whenever you update something like this. So I'm like really excited about that and doing that, getting all that stuff up to date and properly branded and everything. Because that's it's detail task work, but it's fun work all the same. You get to tell the story of your brand and the story of your product and all the stuff that you get to do, and you get to do it all over again. And that's probably that's probably the funnest part about setting up a business, is just like telling the story of your brand and inventing this thing from scratch, and several years after the fact coming back and revisiting it and telling the story of your brand again and updating it and cleaning it up a little bit, and you find a typo here, you find a typo there, you want to retell this story a little bit differently, you update some of the language, you update some of the imagery. That stuff's kind of fun. I like doing that sort of thing. And when you build, and when you build a company, you do it for the first time. um, and there's probably a reason, or that's probably part of the reason why you have people who are serial entrepreneurs who start a company and then they jump to start another company and then they do another one and another one and another one. Whoops. Sorry, my phone fell off its little stand here. Because it really is. It's fun. It's fun work. It's tedious. It's tiresome. But when it's your kid, it's your baby, it's your project. I mean, how many times do you get tired of bragging about your kids doing whatever and whatever? I don't ever get tired about bragging about my kids. I love it. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing it too much. Not that I do it very often on the YouTube channel because it's none of y'all's damn business. Looks like we have another person who has entered the chat. Welcome to the party here, Longshanks. John. Kind of a feeling that's a screen name, but that's cool. Longshanks being the name of the, what was it, Edward Longshanks? King of England? Richard? I don't know. But we're almost done. Just a couple of cases left to go. 1, 2, probably 3 total. But now the next thing that I need to do is, once I get the new labels, we'll be going to all the stores and either selling the old labels or replacing the old labels with the new labels. I'd rather go and sell them, so it's probably going to be another road show to go out and the sell out the clear road show. Get all, go out and try and find all the damn clear labels on the shelves, period, and just get rid of them all. Get onto a consistent marketing platform. Ice makers over here doing the Lord's work, making more ice for me. I might bring that thing home for Easter. So I'll have ice at home for Easter, for dinner. Know what I mean? It's 5:30. I thought I'd be done in 30 minutes. I'm not being done in 30 minutes. First business was giving lunch and dinner to my next door neighbor. 10 cents per delivery. I was rich as a 10-year-old. Holy shit. Where did you, when you were 10, where were you growing up, Ting Ting? If you don't mind me asking. I know you were, well, I get the impression, my understanding is you were born in China, or at least your folks came over from China. Do I have that right? Am I correct about that? And if I recall, you served in the military. I know a little bit about your biography. I don't know a lot about it, but I know a little bit about it. You don't talk about yourself much, on other people's streams, but he's not in chat on other people's streams. It's like everybody already knows who you are. But I was new to that party. Chinatown, Seattle. So not China, China. Or did you come over with your parents when you were just little? Or were you born? Were you born in America? My understanding was that you came here, but I could be wholly misinformed about that. And if that's the case, I apologize. Guangxi became a FOB at age 10. FOB, freight on board? Uh, a freight on board? That'd be like a delivery. Because my stills were delivered FOB. It is pouring down rain outside right now. Beautiful. Fresh off the boat. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Were you Army, Air Force, Marines? I think, if I recall, actually, I don't remember. I don't remember what branch you served in. I don't think I've ever seen it. I know you served. I just don't know what branch. My dad was Army, but he was done with that long before I was born. He was, I think 68 is when he was discharged. It might have been 69 when he was discharged, but he was in Germany in the 60s. Okay, so I have a time limit now officially. My lovely wife just texted me and said pot roast will be ready at 7. So I'm going to be done with this probably in about 30 minutes. CB. That's Navy. Wait. Hey, be good. HM2. All right. Well, there you go. My godson is very likely going to be going Army. He wants to, at least. he wanted to before he saw the tanks rolling for on the back of trucks and the back of a the back of a. He started getting second thoughts when he saw tanks on trains heading for Ukraine. He's like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah. You got to realize, kiddo, you are making a commitment to do an actual thing if the thing comes up. And there's a chance the thing will come up, kiddo. Served around a bunch of jarheads. Yeah, that's the naval attachments to the Marines. Yeah, a buddy of mine was a Navy guy who was the medic for a bunch of Marines. Sorry, I'm reaching across the camera. Sorry about that. He was in Iraq, served as the medical technician for a bunch of Marines. He did the same thing. Now these aren't done yet. I still have to sign the back, put the batch number. These are going to be 2023-03 and the last of an era. No more will we have these labels. Front label first, back label second. My grandfather was Navy, served on battleship that was part of the bombardment of Normandy. Then was part of the detachment of men that went on the beaches. So my grandfather, well, he could have been both. I think he was just on the ship when they were bombarding Normandy and then launched in the landing. Because the story is that he landed in Normandy. Thomas Ashley Baker. He and I have the same middle name. But I need to get a little bit more clarification on that because my mom always said that he was always skittish around big booms because of the cannons on the guns, or the cannons and the guns on the ships that he was serving on. But if he went on the beach, I don't think he would have been. The Navy didn't storm the fucking beaches. The Navy, I mean, he might have gone to the beach, but I don't know if he was, storming it. You know what I mean? There's a difference. Well, that's crooked as fuck. My label is off center in a bad way. See that? See that shit? All right, fixed it. Fixed it. I'm 50. All right. American Citizen, April 01. In boot camp, 9/17/01. We were all lied to about Iraq, Ting Ting. We were all lied to about Iraq. And the thing is, if they would have been fucking honest about it, it would have been a legitimate. I mean, it might have been a legitimate invasion, but they weren't honest about it, so it wasn't. And what's even worse is not only were they not honest, they knew they weren't being honest. They knew they were lying. I still like to think that Colin Powell at least thought he was telling the truth when he goes to the United Nations and shares the pack of lies. I like to think that, but I have no way of knowing if Colin Powell knew he was lying or if he thought he was telling the truth. I remember at the time thinking, well, if Colin Powell is behind it, like, I respect the shit out of that guy. Like, there's no way Colin Powell was going to fucking lie about this. Like, he was the one who didn't want to do it. Like, he had to be convinced. And if this stuff is convincing enough for Colin Powell, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. You know, if they could have just simply said, you know, like, the conditions that are left behind by Saddam Hussein are conditions that are unacceptable in the area. We have a despotic leader who is perpetuating unrest in the Palestinian region, perpetuating unrest by paying suicide bombers in Palestine. We have, you know, a no-fly zone over there. This is an untenable situation. We need to end it. We need to end it and democracy and do what we can to establish a democratic leadership. I mean, they've just been honest about their intentions and what they wanted to do. And we can't stand with terrorism anywhere, ever. But that's not what they did. And furthermore, it diverted resources away from Afghanistan and all this other shit. It was just a generally bad situation to be in. It was a situation that probably could have been handled much better and should have been handled much better. But you know, once you put off labels are the best. Once you put, you know, and we had what, 150,000 men over there, something like that. It started affecting the economy. We backed ourselves into a corner where we had no choice but to follow through with the threats and the build up and the preparation. Yeah, there's no way you line your knuckles up like that and then just turn around and go home. Like, what we did was despicable and inevitable, and we need to figure out a way to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I think we might be there, but you know, is what it is. All right, I got a little more than a case and a half to finish. I had a dirty bottle that I had to put aside. Back label, front label. Interestingly enough, now that I fixed the damn label machine, the labels are going on straighter. Ta-da! Ting Ting, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I appreciate Destin hanging out with me. I think I saw Steve Erkenbeck a little while back. Steve hung out. I appreciate that. Where are we at on subscriber count? Still 1970. We're probably close to 1980 right now, aren't we? Let me look. Oh, we actually dropped a subscriber. We're at 1976. We were at 1977. Curious that. But man, that was a weird time. We were like at odds with our allies, looking at new alliances because the old alliances just weren't. I mean, we weakened our ties with NATO. We weakened our alliances with the Western European nations. Yeah, that probably had something to do with it. Finishing Daddy's work. That probably had something to do with it. George Sr. was, I hate to say this, but he was probably the last respectable old old line Republican president that we'll see in our lifetime. These, these fucking lunatics that we have now. Fucking Ted Cruz and Greg Abbott and this new breed of fake Republican nonsense bullshit people. I kind of have a feeling that Ronald Reagan would kick their fucking asses if he saw them in person. Like, what is wrong with you people? We used to fight fucking fascists. And you people are expelling your fellow members for standing up with protesters and using their free speech? Come on, man. They didn't hurt anything. They didn't break anything. It's not like they took a dump in the hall and spread it on the walls. Anyway. Yeah, kind of get a feeling Ronald Reagan would just kick their ass. But we'll never know because old Ronnie Reagan's dead. And that's another thing. Even with the difference in politics that people have with George H. George the Elder, like they respected him, they liked him. Like, he was a decent guy, or everybody largely considered him to be a decent guy. He's an old line. He was an old line Republican, old line government guy, head of the party, chairman of the party rather. During the Nixon era, he was chairman, head of the CIA at one point. I mean, this was an old government dude, Unlike his son, who was just like governor for a couple of years and then launched onto the national stage because he had the right last name. Oh, I almost didn't put the front label on this one. Among other great See, when I was a kid, I thought he was a good he did some things really well. And I think he was what we needed at the time for a change in strategy, a change in economic policy. He ushered in the supply side economic model with the Volcker rule, and he ushered in a big change culturally. But what didn't happen when he came in was the ongoing reforms to, take what he did and run with it. Because we could have then used this new economic model. We could have used all these things to address the problems that we had. But instead of doing that, we just, took the cheap money, took the low interest rates, and created a whole host of other problems for the next 40 years. And there's, when you look at all the economic models and you look at the income divide and the poverty rate and all the stuff, you can literally draw a line in, and before that line is Ronald Reagan, and after that line, or before that line is before Ronald Reagan, after that line is after Ronald Reagan. He did. I still believe that a lot of the policies that he instituted solved a lot of the problems that we were facing in the 70s. But it also created a lot of the problems that we're facing to this day right now. He was a president that we absolutely needed at the time. It seemed like at the time the Soviet Union was in an ascending. But when you look back at history, maybe it wasn't. Maybe that's not really the case. Hey, buddy, go to your bed. Go on. Or don't. You can just chill out there. You're fine. All right, I've got to pick up the camera real quick and move it because I'm done. That's the end of the bottles. Let me get the camera. Fix the camera up. Turn it around. Let's see here. Lift and spin. My lovely wife is making pot roast, which is perfect for a day like today when it's rainy and gross. Uh-oh. Trying to turn it on the bar cam here. Yeah, there we go. Bar cam. Zoom out. Bar cam. So it would be nice if eventually we had stage cam, and this was above the bar and pointed at the stage, and then y'all could watch the stuff that I'm watching at the bar when live shows are on. I mean, that'd be kind of cool. In fact, I'm going to bring the camera down because it makes me nervous up all the way up here. I'm going to bring it down to how, and we'll lift it this way. And that is, it's not the angle that we're going to have at the stage, but eventually that'll be our stage. Eventually, that'll be the stage. That'll be where we have performances. I'll have a new camera, or a second camera, one that's wide, and then this camera will be tight. Star Wars killed the USSR. Yeah, we did. We literally spent them into oblivion. Have you seen the new Kennedy trying to think name will get him as? Yeah, I think, what is it? RFK Jr. is going to run as I think a Democrat. So Ting, the way she makes a pot roast is she puts it in a slow cooker, the crock pot. It is literally crock pot roast, 8 hours of heat, and that's it. There you have it. I'm going to put picture in picture because that's what's going on in the distillery. Not that anything's going on in the distillery. I wish we had a couple of people in here just goofing off, chilling out, but we don't. It's Good Friday. There's nobody in here for Good Friday. Not that there's people in here often in general, but there's nobody here. It's Good Friday. Nobody's going to be here. So I'm still stunned that there's people who thought JFK was faking his death and that he was going to
come back as he was going to come back in Dallas of all places. Fucking QAnon people. I'm sorry. There's I have trouble ginning up any kind of respect for those people. I really do. It's like just shockingly dumb, the stuff that some people will believe. And I gotta think, on some level at least, they don't really believe this nonsense. They don't really believe their own bullshit. Just like the fucking flat earthers. I gotta believe they don't really believe that shit. I gotta. But, here we are. Flat earth nonsense is a fucking thing for some reason. I gotta believe they don't actually believe it, but and again, you listen to them and you hear them talk, and it sure does sound like they fucking believe it. Anyway, all right, so I'm done. I finished my work. I'm done. We have 25 more subs to get to our 2,000 subscriber point. Hopefully, we'll get there eventually. I don't know. Hopefully, it'll just be in the next couple of days. I don't know. I'm gonna run a short. I'm gonna post a short and then post another short, and then that should get us there. A couple of shorts away. Then I got a few videos that I'm working on that I'm gonna do. One right up here at the bar, and a couple of them at home from the office. You ready? One more time. You ready? Ting? John? Anybody else? Y'all ready? There you go. That's it. That's all you get. No more previews. Don't screenshot that. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Wally says goodnight. I says goodnight. Let's get a picture of Wally over here. Can we get a picture of Wally? Come on, Cambot. Show us some Wally love. There's a good boy. Who's a good boy? He's camera shy. Look at him. Put a camera on him. And he's like, I'm just going to lay down here and act like I can't see you, Daddy. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's the goodest of boys. He is. He's a good boy. All right, guys. Cheers to y'all. Thanks for joining me for my afternoon of work. I truly appreciate it. I will see you all again next week. And we'll do it again. I got some more stuff to do. I got some bottling. I don't really have any more. Well, I do. I have to sign these bottles. And then we'll just keep on cranking and live to work another day. Until next time, 'tis I, the old humble guy. So in fact, after next time too, like now, after the next time, pretty much forever, I'm the old humble guy until something changes, and I don't know what would change to make me not be the old humble guy. But I mean, even if I sell the business, I'm still going to be the old humble guy. So I don't know. Well, I'm the old humble guy now, tomorrow, and forever. Cheers to you, boys and girls. Till next time.